Hi, I thought I'd show you the garden. So this is our big archway here that we grow all kinds of things up, and Robert's got all kinds of bird feeding things on there. And we've got some peppers, and this is the nasturtium here, and oregano, and these are mostly store-bought peppers, or tomatoes. That's a store-bought tomato. That one's sickly. But I think these are all peppers that we had grew this year. And that's my lemon balm. It was really, really big, but I cut it down because it was about to go to seed. And this is a store-bought tomato, but this one is one that we grew. And that's some thyme, and that's another store-bought tomato, and another one. And we have some nasturtium and a catnip. And inside the archway area, I got a little basket of nasturtiums. These are the trailing nasturtiums. This will be my first year growing those. And then I've got some more nasturtiums and some squash that are supposed to get real big and long. And I just planted some, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, some type of little, it looks like it's got little pokey bits, cucumbers, but there's some on this side and the other side. And then here, I got the Malabar spinach. I know you like it. And I got it growing all over here. And I got some little nasturtiums there. And then we'll look on this side. This side of the arbor here, we got the catnip plant. I took this from the big plant that I have around back, I believe last spring, and it's done this massive. And I planted all kinds of cucumbers in here, but only one of them came up. Hopefully the others will come up. And then there's more nasturtiums. I'm hoping they'll trail along this arbor here and look all pretty, but we will see. And then I've got more of them pokey cucumbers. And these are the long noodle beans that we're growing for Mandy's little dog. He loves those. And then these are our tomatoes that we grew. This one's sun gold. You can even see it's got little baby tomatoes on it. But they're quite tall. I mean, you can see it's up past my knee, almost in between my knee and my hip. And there's another one. I believe all these are our homegrown sun gold tomatoes, but there's more there and there. They look a little bit better than the store-bought ones. You can see there. These are the ones we grew, and that's more oregano. And then that really pretty catnip. And then these are, I believe these are the Gardener's Delight tomatoes here. That one is showing off. It's like way better than all the others. And I believe that's mostly what these are, Gardener's Delight. This will be my first year growing those. I haven't tried those before. And then the next aisle, we picked up a clearance raspberry, and haven't got it planted yet, but some of these are store-bought, but most of them are ones we had grown. These are our peppers. Robert loves them gypsy peppers, so that's what we have there. And these are supposed to be really big bell peppers here. And then we got our own gypsy peppers, so see, they're not too horribly far behind the store. They got just starting to put buds on, where the other ones are blooming. But most of these are gypsy peppers, and there's one volunteer potato and another volunteer potato. And more peppers. And we're experimenting with growing peppers in the buckets. Some of these, it's a mixture of homegrown and store-bought. Again, the store-bought ones already have peppers on them. Robert's excited about that. And there's more. Of course, the ones with the store have the peppers on them. And we got a new variety called a Yum Yum. And these are all our berries. This one's a blackberry. I don't know if you can see all the berries on it, but it might be a good year. We're hoping so anyways. Robert's been picking raspberries every now and then, and they're really delicious. I think this is a later variety blackberry because it's not quite as ahead as some of the others. And we got our grapes, but boy, they didn't do well with the frost. They're kind of struggling. We really need to plant them out too. And then this is more blackberries. This one's really tall. And there's more grapes and more blackberries and more blackberries. And here's at the fence. I don't have a whole lot at the fence. I've got one lone crepe myrtle tree, and I've got a lot of comfrey. That's the stuff with the purple flowers. I've got a lot of that and some willow planted. Last year I had it all nice and clean, but this year I chose to get other areas. I didn't have enough enough of material to do both. And these are our Amish paste tomatoes. And this is lemon balm too that I cut down because it was going to seed. And that's a yarrow right there on the very edge about to bloom. And more nasturtiums. These are garlic chives. And more Amish tomatoes. These are all ones that we had grew. So I mean they're doing pretty good. And that's a borage I just planted. More Amish, the Amish paste tomatoes. And I've got some little toothache plants that I just planted here. More Amish, and then I've got another yarrow there, and some more catnip, we'll see if it takes, and some nasturtium. And here we got more grapes, and blackberries, and a goji berry. And I hadn't done anything with that bucket, but that bucket I put some, I just planted one of the Sun Gold tomato seeds in to see how it does. And these were our mulch piles. We had a big load of mulch there, and there. And once we got all the mulch out, we decided to plant elderberries. It's cuttings from a tree around back, I'll show you. We got an elderberry there, and then the birds planted all these sunflowers. And we'll see what those look like. But then we'll come to the front here. Here's a elderberry, but this isn't the one I took the cuttings from. But it's a different variety than the others, but they're starting to put their flowers on, and then we'll have berries for too long. And that's a lantana, and that's our little moringa, and another lemon balm. Hopefully there'll be mint all in here. I planted chocolate mint all in here. Hopefully it'll take. These are some of our house plants. These are some things we had just picked up in town the other day. These ones, they don't really serve a purpose. Robert just thought they were really pretty. And I've got some coneflower planted back there and some bee balm. And I planted apple mint through here. And we used the mulch from around back, and there was some rattlesnake pole beans that came up there and there. And then there's more back there, plus a little moringa tree. And then there's one of my big comfrey plants. And then I've got a plantain and a woolly lamb's ear, marshmallow, and I gotta step back for this big one, the big marshmallow. That's my best plant I have. And I planted, I believe, mojito mint in between this comfrey plant and that comfrey plant. So that's my mojito mint. And I believe in between this comfrey plant and that comfrey plant is my orange mint. And I've just got one kale. That kale survived the -10 degrees and the foot of snow that we had. I was surprised by that. And this is a little elderberry I planted from that cutting from the Big Mama plant. And it's not looking too happy, but I think it'll be okay. We just took that and planted that like just a couple days ago. And that's an oregano, another big comfrey. And I've got yarrow here that's about to bloom. I actually took pieces of this plant, and that's what I planted in the garden bed. And there's another marshmallow, and this is another variety of elderberry. Unfortunately, I lost all of my markings on what that and the blackberries are. But I planted pineapple mint all through here, and we will see. Maybe it will come up, but you can just kind of pan over and see. That's kind of the way the garden is. There. And then this is the horseradish plant. I ran out of material, so I'm got to finish with the bedding there, but we'll get that done in just a few days. But that's the horseradish. This is its second year. Last year it was really small, so I haven't harvested anything from it yet. And this is a new mint we got because I think we had this before, but we had it in buckets and the ants had got in it. That's spearmint. And this is my willow. I took cuttings from this 2 years ago and planted up at the fence, and I've got some that are about knee-high or taller. That's the willow. And I'm sure you could see, here's the big elderberry bush that I'm taking the cuttings from. This was planted at the same time as the other elderberries, but for some reason this one is very happy here. And we also got another mint, the peppermint here. But you can see all the little babies. I'll show you more, but there's a little baby that I can take cuttings from. And I took wood cuttings and stuck them at the front of the fence up here, like where the comfrey was. And they really haven't grown much since this spring, so I've decided this fall I'm going to take a lot of those cuttings. And there's the big elderberry tree. It's so massive. I've like been here 2 years. Oh, I don't know if you can see it, but the moon's really pretty. I don't know if you can see that or not. But we'll pan over this way and you can see Mandy's trampoline. That's an old plum tree that's been here ever since we moved here. It's been here. And that's a little small plum tree that I planted. And it's not really doing very well. It's a native plum. Both of these are. They're not the really big plums. And this is a pear tree. And that's one of our peach trees. And there's another peach tree right behind it. And we've got 2 plum trees behind it as well. And here's our apple tree. You can see all the apples. I think it's going to be a good year for apples. And we also have another one back here. I don't know if you can see the apples on it or not. Oh yeah, you can see them. I think you can anyways. They're more green, which is surprising because this is supposed to be the red apple. And the other one's the Granny Smith apple. But you can see the Granny Smith apple there. It's kind of leaning. Hopefully it won't fall over. But here's the the elderberry. And then below it here I've got hibiscus. And I don't have much planted in these. I tried to plant lettuce, but they didn't come up. I've got a few herbs, oregano and catnip and things like that. I've got another comfrey plant. And all the way back at the house I planted nettle. We'll see whether anything comes from that. You can see how much the bees love the comfrey. Oh, it just moved. I was going to try and show you how much the bees love the comfrey. They really love it. They really do. Okay, and I've got a rose bush here. I done took all the roses off after it rained. They were starting to fall off, and I made a vinegar out of that. And this was all my irises and daffodils and things like that. And we've got very sad blueberries here. Very sad. Hopefully we can save them. They seem to do this every year for some reason. I don't know. I guess they're just not happy here. But maybe one day they'll be happy. And then our pretty lilies. Oh, I've had these lilies for several years, and they've been here for 2 or 3 years. I moved them all over trying to find them enough of daylight, and they're finally happy. And we have a rose bush there. And here's where my mint was, and I've got lemon balm, but unfortunately these are taken over by the ants. And here's up here on the porch, I've got these long trailing nasturtiums that'll hopefully trail over, and some lettuce and lamb's quarter. That came up on its own. And this is the big mama catnip plant I took from, and we got chives and more comfrey and oregano. And I was going to show you our little baby. Oh goodness, the comfrey's taken over the little baby moringa plant there. Let's take that off. There's the little baby moringa plant. And I planted all kinds of herbs in here. I'm not sure if that's herbs or weeds just yet. I'll have to let them go, but I planted all kinds. You can see little nasturtiums there. And I got lemon balm growing everywhere because I let it go to seed, and it went everywhere. And that's another oregano and nasturtium and comfrey, and I got nasturtiums planted everywhere, and catnip. And there's Mandy's little dog. He's so funny. And there's the comfrey. And I got lots of comfrey back here. This is where I started it all several years ago, but I did have irises, and most of my daffodils through here are down there. I had a big patch I dug up from the property. And then here's a new rose bush we got on sale for $2. It's just about to bloom. And here's where I had a bunch of my lemon balm. It's about turned into my lemon balm bed. It's grown so much. But I cut it back because it was about to go to seed, and I didn't want more lemon balm everywhere. And here's more comfrey and more chives. And let's see, more nasturtiums and lemon balm. And that's a marshmallow plant. I don't have too much back here, and most of it was just weeds. I've got a nasturtium, and this is a perennial tree kale, and some comfrey behind it. And let's see, this is the next bed. There's not much coming up in these. I believe the other bed had a moringa in it. I forgot to show you. If you can look right here, you can see the little bitty moringa tree. It's not nearly as big as the one up front, but hopefully it'll do okay. And then, let's see, so there's another marshmallow, but it's not nearly as big as the one up front. And I planted catnip here. We'll see if it takes. And I've got nasturtiums, and I'm pretty sure a lot of this is weeds. We will see. I planted all kinds of herbs through here, but I don't know if they're going to take. Oh, there's a, wow, I haven't even seen that. There's another moringa tree, and I believe that's a borage there too. Doesn't look too happy, but maybe it'll be okay. And let's see. Now, I'll show you something crazy. Do you see these little nasturtiums here? I planted these and these nasturtiums at the same time. And this is another $2 rose we got on sale, and that's a sweet mint. That was a new mint I've never even heard of before. But there's, I just this was one of our last beds we did here. I think we did it probably 2 years ago, and we got nasturtiums and oregano, and I planted a little bit of mullein. I don't know if it's going to come up or not, but I got nasturtiums all over. We'll see how they do. Hopefully they do well. And this is another elderberry I thought was dead, and it's a different variety, but of course for some reason this one and the ones up front aren't as happy, but at least it's trying. It came back. And here I planted chocolate mint. We'll see. Been catching all that rain we've been getting. And that's an oregano. And this is a butterfly bush. It's not blooming yet, but it's starting to set there. And oh, our sage is just about done. It had the most beautiful purple flowers on it, but it's really pretty. I used a bunch of it for my vinegars. And then there's a big comfrey plant there. And my rosemary I didn't think was going to come back. Oh, there's a bee. There's a little bumblebee. He's so cute. They're adorable. And my rosemary ended up coming back. I was afraid it wasn't. And this is another butterfly bush. Mandy, this is outside Mandy's bedroom, and she can, in the summertime, watch the hummingbirds come to it. It's really fun to watch them. But I've got some nasturtiums here. But that's pretty much everything. We're back around front. But that's pretty much everything. That arbor will be really, really pretty in the summer, hopefully. Last year I planted loofahs, and it grew all over it, and they have the most prettiest yellow flowers that the bees love. But I think that's all I have. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, but maybe I can show you whenever it's more it's bigger and in its full glory. But anyways, thought you might enjoy seeing it.